nude implies an awareness of being seen by the spectator. They are not naked as they are. They are naked as you see them. Often, as with the favorite subject of Susanna and the elders, this is the actual theme of the picture. We join the elders to spy on her. She looks back at us looking at her. Sometimes the woman, Susanna, looks at herself in a mirror, picturing to herself how men see her. She sees herself first and foremost as a sight, which means a sight for men. Thus, the mirror became a symbol of the vanity of women. Yet the male hypocrisy in this is blatant. You paint a naked woman because you enjoy looking at her. You put a mirror in her hand, and you call the painting vanity, thus morally condemning the woman whose nakedness you have depicted for your own pleasure, and thus, incidentally, repeating the biblical example by blaming the woman.
Mary Magdalene is an interesting biblical figure because she's become more of an idea than an actual person.
Churches and on our walls, in our chapels and in our windows, in our paintings and in our dreams.
Mary allegedly was a prostitute who wept at Jesus' feet and was cleansed from her unrighteousness. She then sort of becomes a part of his posse, but not much significant happens with her besides that, except maybe for when she found Jesus' tomb was empty.
Falling at his feet, the Magdalene tries to touch Jesus, but he tells her not to. He's not a man anymore. He's a god. Why, out of all the important figures in the Bible, was Mary Magdalene singled out to witness Christ's resurrection? In the Middle Ages, when they were especially unkind and misogynistic about these things, the explanation that was usually given was that women were gossips, and that by showing himself to a woman, Christ was ensuring that word of his return would quickly spread.
Artists, however, seem enthralled with Magdalene. You would think she was this prominent figure in the biblical story. Mary has constantly been painted by the great artists as that seductress, a sort of tragic woman, oozing with sensuality but longing for redemption. Over the years, she's become synonymous with various women referenced in the New Testament. Anytime there's a prostitute made reference, you can bet the first person they will think of is Mary. Why do these religious artists have such a fascination with this woman?
Oh, how artists through the ages have loved the idea that Mary Magdalene was a temptress.
Why did the church have such a fascination?
Why are we so obsessed with her? Why does she ring our bell so loudly? And if she wasn't any of the things they say she was, who really was she?
Who she truly was has become this great mystery. In fact, to tell you the truth, I lied to you. She wasn't a prostitute. There is no mention of her being a prostitute at all in the scriptures. But this is the narrative that's been spun. This is what many of these paintings depicted. In fact, this is how I was introduced to her.
And his most valuable lesson was this: don't be spooked by the experts.
Oh, she's the prostitute who is being stoned. Then Jesus told the crowd, "He who has not sinned, cast the first stone." That wasn't her. Nowhere in the thing does it say that that was her.
Well, my opinion about expert is that it's something far too overestimated. It's a métier who shouldn't even exist.
And how right he was.
It should not exist that one single person makes a decision about what's good or what's bad.
The forgeries were genuine. The proof, and I quote, was irresistible, unanswerable, and overwhelming.
But these artists, these storytellers, these preachers, these writers, these historians, they all seem a bit caught up in this great obsession with the idea, the narrative. What narrative? The tragic woman, the seductress.
We join the elders to spy on her. She looks back at us looking at her.
They are so keen on capturing this great beauty, but in actuality they might be projecting. These painters, are they really capturing some great truth? Or are they creating it themselves? Lying.
In a movie, almost any story is almost certainly some kind of lie.
Perhaps not deliberately, but on a subconscious level. Maybe when they craft that soft skin, those wide eyes, maybe they aren't capturing the divine, as all the scholars will have you believe, but rather they just liked painting hot chicks.